Let's dig into winter squash. We have an acorn squash here and a butternut squash, two of my favorite, and here we're going to process a spaghetti squash, which is also one of my favorites. And kids really like spaghetti squash because it's pretty cool. So the first thing we want to do before we start digging into our really hard winter squash, like spaghetti squash and butternut squash, is make them a little soft by putting them in the oven for about 5 minutes, or sometimes maybe 10 minutes depending on how big they are, or you can put them in the microwave for 3 to 5 minutes, and then they'll soften up a little bit and they won't be so hard to cut. However, they do really hold on to that heat even if you just put them in for 5 minutes, so you're going to want to be careful to not burn yourself and let them cool. This one's still pretty warm. I just took it out of the microwave, so be very, very careful. So again, the first thing we want to do is cut our flat surface. So we're going to cut the flat surface on this spaghetti squash. So you can see it's still kind of hard to cut, and I put it in the microwave for 6 minutes. So I could probably have gone a little bit longer. This one I just cut right into that stem there, and now I have my flat surface here. So the next thing we're going to want to do is cut it right in half. I like to cut mine long ways. As you can see, my knife is having a little bit of a hard time getting through, but I'm telling you, if I had not put this in the microwave, it would be even harder. So now I have it cut in half. It's better to cut it long ways because when you start cooking it, it gives it more of an even cook than if you cut it in half this way. Okay, so now we're gonna take our spoon and just dig out our seeds here. And what's really cool about spaghetti squash, you can see some of the heat coming out just from my short cook in the microwave, but it's still pretty tough. So as you can see, as I'm digging this out, the cool thing about spaghetti squash is it's stringy like spaghetti. So that's why it's called spaghetti squash, and it's delicious with just red tomato sauce or even a white sauce, or you could even put a butternut squash sauce on top, which is also very delicious. So what I do here is now after I remove the seeds, I just put a little bit of oil on there. I turn it upside down on a baking sheet and bake it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 45 to 50 minutes. And then when it's done, you just let it cool for a few minutes because it'll be very, very hot. And then you just take a fork and you dig out the insides, and it stays nice and stringy just like this, and you serve it like you would spaghetti. Shut the oven door.